Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 217, recorded on Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Open the pod bay doors, Zia. Let me try that in my best voice. Open the pod day. Who never. Anyway,
Fantastic.
from Zenatta Consulting, I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Are you looking into starting a podcast? Or maybe just need some help putting it all together so you could focus on your voice telling your story? Introducing Podcaster Zen. From audio podcasts to video to live streaming a show, we do it all. Head over to podcasterzen.com for more info on how we can help you share your message with the world.
Sporting the old logo mug here today, Tyler.
Oh, very nice.
Little throwback mug.
Throwback.
Yeah, the old original logo. I think I like our new one much better. But anyway. All right. Hey, with that, let's get straight on into events. Over at Zenatta.com/events is where we keep track of everything going on in the world of Zoho. And coming up next week, we've got the Zoho People Overview. We also had, that's on September 27th at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. And then Zoho is doing another webinar, End-to-End Agreement Management with Zoho Apps. And that's going to be Thursday, September 29th from 10 to 11. Looks like they're going to talk about using Writer and WorkDrive and Mail and Meeting and Sign and putting it all together with email signature workflow and automations. That should be a really, really good webinar. And still ongoing, but about to wrap up, Zoholics, the very last one over in Europe will be taking place in the Netherlands, and that is going to be Tuesday, September 27th. So if you are over there, go check that out. It should be good. Tyler, and then we are going to do our October webinar, which is going to be Zoho Survey full product tutorial. I love that application. That will be a lot of fun. And if you missed it, we'll talk about it later on the show. But this week, Tyler, we had a month off and we didn't have to do a webinar because Greg and Josh stepped in and took care of it for us. And they did a great job. So that was on Zoho Learn. So if you want to check out our webinar on Zoho Learn, go check that out. And then there's going to be another overview of Zoho People. So anyway, just head over to Zenatta.com/events to find out what's going on in the world of Zoho. And with that, let's get straight to the news. Zia is extending its intelligence. This is a little different than voice of customer, I think. That was something we talked about earlier, where Zia basically would kind of read your emails and come up with some stuff. Well, now added into the CRM, they've got email intelligence, where they're basically going to give you an emotional analysis and negative sentiment alerts. And so it looks like what it's going to do is scan emails and tell you what your customers think of you.
Yeah, it's just kind of built into some of the email tracking that they already have in CRM. Kind of email insights is what gives you that, opened or clicked indicator when you've sent an email from CRM. So kind of nice here. They're going to be trying to gauge the general emotion of the email. Obviously, tools like this get better with time, so and anything that's machine learning driven, it's going to need to get some practice in, right? So take it with a grain of salt for the first couple months or first little while after it is rolled out. But I know a big part of where Zoho wants to go with a lot of their products is kind of enabling them with Zia to go a little bit further than just the standard workflow that you're running out of there. Interesting one, though, and one that would be cool to build on as kind of the part two is that negative sentiment alert, right? So maybe if there's 3 emails that all have a negative sentiment, should somebody be told about that, right? And so there's some kind of cool functionality that you could imagine in the long term as these tools continue to improve.
Yeah, I love this one, confusion. I'm going to let you know if you're confused or not. They would read all my emails and go, this guy is clearly confused. It wouldn't work for me. Taking advantage of Zia and doing some interesting analysis. So very, very cool. And kind of just a quick little announcement here. But if you use WorkDrive TrueSync, that basically allows you to synchronize the files that are sitting on WorkDrive to your desktop. They have updated the TrueSync application for Mac OS Ventura, which is currently in beta. It hasn't been released yet. I do want to get it. That supports some really cool features there. The one I really want to check out is you can now use your iPhone as a webcam. So you can
Mm.
mount it. They're selling mounts already on Amazon where you can mount it on the top of your
Waiting
laptop, on
for
the top
them
of
to
your
do that.
monitor.
Yeah, it took them longer than I expected kinda to do that. I mean, they've been putting these beautiful cameras in iPhones for so long, and it's seems like it's almost about time, right, that they kind of enable that because, for most people, I mean, even for us, like, we've got our little 4K camcorders up there, but the video quality on the iPhones now is crazy, coulda saved
Like,
us some money if I could just mount mine right here and, be done with it.
I'm hoping it's that good. Also, I saw some interesting things. If you actually, you mount it flush to the top of your monitor, it uses the wide angle lens to look straight down. So you can, with one camera, you can have the front view and a full desktop view. So if you're doing demos, you want to, that kind of stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. But it has nothing to do with this. But anyway, TrueSync now supports macOS Ventura. And then moving on here, this is really cool. You were excited about this. You've got some default custom actions in Zoho Desk using this new tag feature.
Yeah, so I mean, they've kind of done a lot here. Essentially, they've added a bunch of actions that you can do natively in your desk workflows. If we scroll down a little bit, there's kind of a new image on here that shows them. But essentially, they're kind of just, and this is similar to what they're doing in CRM, but they're building out more and more things that you can do with just a drag and drop action. Whereas like some of these things, if you wanted to, let's say like remove a tag based on a workflow, you'd probably have to write a little line of deluge code. But now, some of these actions, you don't have to do that anymore. A couple key ones that I think are kind of cool is marking a ticket as spam automatically. We get a ton of spam into our desk, and based on the subject line, 99% of the time I could tell you if it's spam or not. Would you like
Right.
to buy Zoho user lists? No, we would not. You were spam. So, there's just a lot of these things that they're kind of building out where you won't need to write any code or do anything too crazy to get them implemented. So, shout out to Zoho. I think the more that you can enable a user to do without having to write any script, think generally the happier they're going to be with the product. So,
Yep.
definitely moving in the right direction there.
Yeah, we do a lot of this using code, right? To scan the email, read the email, determine what it is, and then properly assign
Mm.
it.
And sometimes
But
you're still going to have to, right? But for things that
yeah,
are simple, it's nice to not have to, bring in the big guns just to add a tag, based
yep.
on a parameter in a ticket.
All right, and moving right along, kind of a interesting update. So, Bigin has been updated for iOS 16. It adds these new lock screen widgets. It's got room plan, weather focus, filters, and more. The interesting one for me, though, I think for most people, is going to be the lock screen widgets. If you haven't played with this and you're an iPhone user, you can now put all kinds of widgets right on your lock screen, and you can have multiple lock screens. That's the other thing. You can have like 5 or 6 lock screens you can swipe through that might have different things on
Mm.
them. Quick actions. So, depending on what you're doing, you're working. Maybe you want to have the lock screen that has these widgets on it. Then it's the weekend. You want to have another lock screen that has your camera, quick, that kind of stuff on it. Your day plan, whatever. Pretty cool. And then QR scanner is now built into Bigin, which is great. And then what is on the wacky side of things, they're using room plan. If you are using, so Bigin has a bunch of templates, Tyler, and it
Yep.
basically for various vertical markets. One of them is for real estate. And if you are using that template, you then have this ability to use the room plan app, which uh, which looks pretty cool. I always find verticals pretty interesting. I mean, we probably have, but I don't know, 30 real estate companies. I don't think a single one of our clients wants their CRM set up the same way. Everyone wants
Mhm.
something different, but out of the box template, there you go. Room plan is kind of cool. And then you can prioritize productivity with focus filters, which I guess basically lets you focus on just the things you wish to focus on. I have no idea. Does it turn off? What does
Yeah.
focus do? turn
I
off.
think it's new. I think it's new to iOS 16, but essentially you're actually setting this up in the settings of your phone, and then applying it there into Bigin. So notification settings, list views, a couple
Right.
things can kind of be filtered by default when you open up the Bigin app.
Got it. Good stuff. And then you can keep an eye on weather for your meetings, as you can now know what the weather is before you go into a meeting, which I think is kind of helpful. You can
It's kind of
also
funny too.
step outside and look up.
When
But
Bigin was going to be the super lightweight CRM, minimal features, keep it super simple. I remember those days.
yeah.
Definitely grown
Anyway,
over time.
it really has. Yeah, and if I guess we didn't explain that, if you are new to Zoho and you're wondering what is this, well, Bigin is another CRM. Zoho has two. They've got CRM and they've got Bigin. Like you said, started off kind of as a pipe drive, really easily manage those your sales pipeline, those kind of things, and it's just growing up every single day. The team doesn't stop. So cool features though, weird
Absolutely.
ones. Yeah. All right, I'll let you do most of the talking on this one, Tyler. Zoho Creator has got some updates here for September 2022. The list here. Any of these really jump out at you?
Yeah, a couple of them are nice. Blueprint 2.0 is kind of nice. This is kind of a long-term thing they've been working on inside of Creator to essentially allow you to manage your processes a little bit more cleanly. Blueprints, of course, kind of let you move a record through a set of steps in a more structured way. So one of the updates here that they're rolling out is Blueprint Analytics, which will essentially let you understand the time to complete blueprints as a whole, the time to complete each individual stage within a blueprint. How many records came in, how many ended up getting stuck, how many skipped steps, things like that. So really good here. Oftentimes when you're doing a blueprint, one of the goals is to improve that process. So understanding like, hey, step 3 takes 5 times longer than all the other steps. Like, how do we fix that, or can we fix that?
Cool stuff.
One of the
I
other
wonder if they're
updates
going to put
here.
this in.
Go ahead.
I wonder if they're going to put this in CRM. It might be
Oh,
interesting to know
hopefully.
that in
Yeah,
CRM as
hopefully.
well. I mean, this kind of analytics are pretty cool.
Yeah. They've also kind of improved some of the branding and look and feel that you can do within your creator apps. So essentially being able to set an organization-wide company logo, expanding what you can do with your themes and icon customization. These are little things, but if you do have a lot of creator apps, like one of the things that they highlight in here is that, let's say you have 2 different apps. Well, make the icons different colors, make the headings different colors, right?
Right.
So that when you open one, it's visually intuitive which application you're looking at. So these are like little things. They're not like, life changers, but they make a difference in the long run.
They
They're
do.
also adding in some font choices, which is really nice.
Yep.
I'd love one day if you could maybe make the little field boxes rounded, because they're super boxy and look kind of out of date. But I'm sure that's on their list somewhere here. And then the one that I do want to highlight that for like regular users of Creator is huge is down a little further. It's essentially letting you know if you are about to leave a page and empty out the form that you're working on. So a couple of these here in the middle are just, report publishing and things like that. So nothing too crazy. Yeah, form alerts. Here they are. This is the one that I actually posted in our group chat. Hallelujah, when I saw it. It's very easy to accidentally leave a creator form and it does not save halfway through. So sometimes for us, we're on a meeting, we use a creator form and actually take all of our meeting notes. All of our consultants here can empathize with me. It is brutal if you accidentally close that form in the middle of a meeting. So now they're essentially going to give you a pop-up if you're about to do something that's going to empty out the form that you're working on.
Yeah,
Big
let's
shout
add
out for
this
that.
to
That's
the.
not a
Let's add this.
sexy, fancy update, but man, that is really nice for the day-to-day
It's the
user.
same. It's the same in CRM. I can't tell you how many times I'm filling out a deal record and then I click into another module and you know it's gone.
It's kind of the absent-minded, "Oh, I'm gonna go check this," and you forget to
Yeah,
control click it, and now you're out of
yeah,
luck.
but
So
yeah, you haven't hit save. It's over with. So anyway, good stuff there. And with that, Tyler, let's get to the implementation of the week.
alrighty, so this is a fun one. Some of our implementations are kind of broad and have many different applications. This one is a case of something very, very, very specific that we wanted to set up, that we're able to do for our client. This one was built by Alex on our development team with his bright and shiny face there. We've kind of updated this slide to make sure that we are shouting out our developers fully here for the very cool work that they're doing. So this implementation is basically about making sure that you're getting paid for like a site visit that you're going to allow someone to schedule through like a Bookings or a Calendly or an Acuity. Essentially, the problem that this client was having is that they didn't want to force people to pay for this site visit the moment that they book it, but we need to be able to collect payment from them while we're on site, essentially once we're wrapping up that visit. And so the way that we approach this is kind of twofold. So whenever one of these types of meetings is booked within Zoho Bookings, we kick some data over to Zoho Flow to run a long automated action. So the first thing that we do is we make sure that they exist inside of Zoho Books. If they don't already exist there, we'll go ahead and create a record for them because we're going to end up billing them for this. And so we need them to be within Zoho Books. Next, we will go ahead and create an invoice with the due date matching the date of the site visit and create that for them inside of Zoho Books and mark it as sent so that we're able to easily collect payment against it. Then we go ahead and check, and this is kind of funky. You have to do it with the subscriptions API. You can't do it natively in Books, but we check if they have any active credit cards on file to pay for their site visit. Because essentially, if you have an active credit card, already opted in to pay for this by booking the meeting. And so even if they don't want to open up the invoice and pay it, we need to make sure that they have a card on file so that we can charge that card for the invoice and collect the payment for it. If they don't have a card on file at the time of booking, we actually hit an API to send a request for payment via Zoho subscriptions. Kind of interesting, the API exists. It says that it works, but it doesn't actually send the email. So we hit the API. The API provides us in the response the link that the customer would have been sent in that email if it worked. So we pull that link out and send our own email to the client notifying them that they need to add a credit card for their upcoming site visit. And then last but not least, one day before the event, we check if they have a credit card again. And if they don't have a credit card, we'll make that request one more time. And then we'll also notify the operations team that, booking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for John Smith does not have an applicable payment method for us to be able to charge their card. So definitely a multi-step implementation to solve for a very, very specific use case. But sometimes we do like to show these off because one of the cool things about Zoho's network of tools is that you can kind of go crazy in there, right? And like, as long as we can figure out a sequence of if-then statements that match the business rule that you're looking for, these very specific types of processes can actually be automated very smoothly. The client said a funny quote. He said, oftentimes, or it's not often in life that we can get exactly what we want, but sometimes fate is kind. And my response was, actually, it wasn't fate. It was Alex that was kind. So big shout out to Alex for working on this one. I know it was a very detailed and specific implementation, but definitely a fun one to stand up for the client.
Yeah, big shout out. Alex is our newest team member, isn't he? I think.
I think so, yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So been with us a few months. Great job, Alex. That is cool. That is
Very cool.
It's wacky though that Books doesn't have the API to check the credit card on file. You have to
You
hit
can only do it with
subscriptions.
subscriptions, but the customer ID is the same, so it
Right.
kind of doesn't matter, Yeah, the funny thing is that that request for payment API doesn't actually work, but it works well enough for us to cheat and take what we need from it and use it in our own email. So, there is the risk that at some point they will fix that, and then we'll have to go and adjust our flows so that they don't get two emails. But for now, it is working perfectly and ready to roll it out.
All right. And now, Tyler, let's bring back a segment from our show from many, it's probably been, I don't know, a year plus since we've had this segment, but let's talk about some things we noticed. This is just the best. Freddie, that's a winner right there. Oh man. So we have touted Smooth Messenger for a very, very long time. That's Jeremy Nagel and his team. That is an application that you would connect to Twilio, and it basically would allow you to have live text messages inside of the CRM. And it's beautiful. I mean, you're basically just looks like you're on a phone or just any other texting app while you're in the CRM texting with the client. Everything's organized. An extremely well done app. Well, congratulations to Jeremy. He has sold his company to MessageMedia, and it is now no longer so. If you are an existing Smooth Messenger client and you're connected to Twilio, life is good, but you can no longer do that. So going forward, MessageMedia is in fact kind of a Twilio competitor, if you will,
Yep.
a very specific competitor around these kind of things. And MessageMedia has purchased Smooth Messenger, and I think it's now called MessageMedia in the store, is it not?
I think it's still called Smooth Messenger, but it
It
has
is still
Message Media in
Smooth.
the name now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it basically, for $49 a month, you can connect to Zoho. They've got several plans. If you go to MessageMedia, it is confusing. If you read it, it kind of appears that you would have to pay $249 a month in order to have the integrations, which would be Zoho. But in fact, you don't. I actually reached out to Jeremy to get clarification on that. And he said, nope, $49 if you're a Zoho, if you're using Zoho. It's kind of interesting. Zoho does get these breaks sometimes like this. We talk about it with Ring Central. With Ring Central, if you've got Salesforce, you have to upgrade to a higher plan, which is like an extra $10, $15 per line per month kind of thing, but not with Zoho. So you can go down to the lower plan and they integrate with Zoho just fine. So anyway, that is very cool. We haven't tried it out. I imagine it's no different. I guess the nice part about it is it's one-stop shop, right? You're getting the app, you're getting the numbers, you're not having to go to
Yep.
Twilio and do that kind of connection.
Yeah, and MessageMedia does also integrate with campaigns. So one of the nice benefits before Smooth Messenger and Twilio is that you can kind of have the same backend SMS platform for your, CRM prospecting texts as well as your campaigns marketing. So MessageMedia is supported on that side as well. The one kind of outlying question that I have, and maybe we could, follow up with Jeremy on this, is that I know that, with Twilio, you can also do voice over IP. So like my magical future state was that Smooth Messenger would roll out a VoIP service as well, because right now it only does SMS. And really, you want your SMS and VoIP to be the same, so that like when a salesperson calls someone or texts them, it's the same number. But I don't see with MessageMedia that they do VoIP. So I'm kind of curious to see where that will go over time, because I'd really love to just tell every single one of our clients, turn on Smooth Messenger, get your numbers on MessageMedia. It's going to do your phone. It's going to do your SMS. It's going to do everything. Because we jump around all the time on what's the best voice over IP, and it's always different. And even the ones that are good have their own whole suite of issues. Whereas for SMS, Smooth Messenger has just always been great. So kind of curious to see if that's still in the cards. I'd love for it to be in the cards, because I'd love to just stop thinking about VoIP and just be able to put all of it here and say, this is the best option. Go with this.
Yeah,
So we'll have to see how that shakes out.
I agree. And I don't know what Jeremy's doing. It maybe I know he sold the Smooth. I don't know if he sold his company or whatever's going on there, but he was actively working on the Twilio VoIP piece of it, which would be great. There are other options for this. We've tried out several. The thing with Twilio is it's just really kind of wonky. So if you want like the app on your phone, that's going to override your CRM. And then when you put the CRM, you have to choose. There's just all kinds of, and Twilio being Twilio, they really don't have their own little, web.
It's a
dialing
back-end
out.
platform,
That's all it
like
is.
it's a developer platform at its heart. They've strapped on or bolted on some like, client-facing features, but really it's a dev tool at its core.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And with that, let's head over to Club Zenatta and check out our code share of the week. All right. This is from Elizabeth Clark, not one of our developers. This is a guest code share. This makes me so happy. So mass send statements, outstanding only in Zoho Books. And it's a nice little function to do just that. Very, very cool, Elizabeth.
Yes, essentially it looks like what she's done here is created a mass button where you can mass select accounts and actually send out their opening, or what is it, like open invoices or account statement, basically only if they have outstanding payments that they need to make or open invoices. Pretty cool function here. Lucas did look through it. Everything looks really good. So big shout out to Elizabeth for Lucas approved code. That has to be a high standard to get the stamp of approval there.
Yeah. Down here, you should be really happy because when our senior dev throws high praise at this, that's good.
Yeah, and I
So,
do want to do a big
very
shout out.
nice.
She must be a true Zoho developer because she figured out how to do this by using a field that is nowhere in the API documentation. That is when you truly graduate as a Zoho developer, is when you break Zoho by doing things that it doesn't say that you can do. So big shout out there to Elizabeth, and thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. I think this is honestly something that a lot of people using Zoho Books might like.
Hey, and Elizabeth, if you are listening, we're always hiring developers and we'd love to chat with you because this looks like some good stuff. So just drop an email to Josh, Josh at Zenatta.com and, love to chat with you. Great stuff. If you don't know Club Zenatta, that's our basically where we talk about all things, it's our community. You can get together, you can chat. And I think, Tyler, very shortly, maybe next week, maybe the week after, we're going to have a double angel festival. I think we're going to hit 500 users over at Club Z, and then we will be hitting, I think, 7,000 users over on our
Wow.
YouTube channel. But anyway, if you haven't checked it out, we have got all our forums over here. We've got our general forum. You guys can just have all the chit chat, talk about anything you want. We've got our code share forum. We've got our Zoho news, and then of course, if you ever want to ask a question that's on the show, check that out here. All right, and with that, let's move on to our read of the week. This is from Zoho. It's a guest blog by Gary Stevens, and this is what is email sender reputation and how you can improve it. If you send a lot of emails, I would recommend you read this article. I would say not a month goes by where we don't have a client who's like, all my emails are going to spam. And it's like, well, what did you do? What did you do? And usually they bought a list and they didn't clean the list. They didn't parse the list. And all of a sudden they're...
Or didn't email the list in a long time. I had a client the other day who we set up a monthly RSS campaign, which is actually really cool. We should be doing it ourselves, honestly, where you connect campaign to an RSS feed, and then every first of the month, it sends a quick roll up to a list of a summary of all the little blogs that you've posted to that feed. And they hadn't posted a blog since May, posted one in late August, sends out September 1st, and they go from their bounce rate of being like 1-2%, totally normal bounce rate, to like 12%. And they got the email from Zoho, the like, hey, what's going on email. So there's just so many things. I mean, you have to keep your list warm. You have to regularly email them. You have to follow proper opt-out and let people get out if they don't want it, so they don't start reporting you as spam. As counterintuitive as it seems, you want to make it easy to unsubscribe, because the worst thing that could happen is a bunch of people tell Gmail and Outlook that you're spamming them. So,
and if you are legit, if you do have that situation where you have a list, you haven't emailed it for a while, there are services like ClearOut.io and Hunter.io, which allow you to take that list, run it through their service. They're going to let you know if it's a good email and if you can email to it or not. And it can be huge. You go a year without sending an email, it's not 12%. It's like 30% of those emails are no good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's something like what, 1%? What's like the normal benchmark that everyone uses? About 1% a week, or like 0.5% a week are going to turn to bounces, just as people leave their job or get a new job, or the company installs some type of firewall, whatever, right? I mean, you have to keep emailing it so that when someone is about to bounce, you get them right away, get them out of the list, and keep those percentages low.
Yeah. So this is a nice little article, kind of covers the things you should do. And Gary, nice job. He's the CTO of Hosting Canada, a website that provides expert reviews on hosting services. So great stuff and a really nice blog. So everybody should take a read of this if you're sending mass emails.
Shout out to Zoho too. I like the idea of them doing some of these guest blogs. I think that's a great way for them to build their content up. So good job to the Zoho team for getting a knowledgeable guy to write this up.
All right. And with that, let's head over to Zenatta.com and see what's new over there. All right. So we have the Zoho Learn full product tutorial. This is the webinar done by Josh and Greg this week. And it basically covers everything you'd want to know about Zoho Learn. If you don't like watching videos, well, then you could just read this blog post where we kind of cover as much of it as we can. It won't be as enjoyable. They actually did a great job on that this week. So kudos to them. And Zoho Learn, if you don't know, is Zoho's LMS, and this is not an external LMS, it's an internal for your company. We use it heavily here at Zenatta for keeping track of manuals, so just all sorts of things that we have inside there. So Zoho Learn is a really nice application, so you can check that out. And also, we want to thank our client One Firefly. They gave us a great little case study, and you can read a little bit about that here. They're a marketing firm, yeah, Tyler?
Yes, they're marketing, web dev, web design, kind of a service provider for actually some of our other clients. We have a little network of clients that all kind of work together and work for each other and refer each other. And so, yeah, One Firefly, they provide marketing and web development, web design services. Great client to work with, awesome team. Built a lot of cool stuff for these guys, kind of across many different Zoho apps. CRM projects, Zoho Sign, Zoho Flow. They're also the type of client that's been able to learn a lot themselves, and kind of like start building some cool stuff and just kind of checking it off of us. Like, hey, I built this. I'm about to turn it on. Anything I need to be aware of. So big shout out to the team over there. I think it was probably Cameron that wrote this
It
up.
was. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for taking the time to let us know how we did.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cameron. All right. And with that, let's get to our pick of the week. All right. This is called Leadfeeder. It was recommended to us by a client who absolutely loves it. There are other services like this. There's Clearbit, there's Virtual Visitor or Visual Visitor. But what this does is it monitors the web traffic that comes into your website, the people that come into your website. It looks at their IP. It does a reverse lookup, and it tells you, who's on your website, how long they've been on your website, what they're doing. Very reasonably priced at $79 a month. And you basically, I don't know how it's $79 a month with no credit card. I guess you can do a free trial. But we've used this in the past. It's pretty cool. We actually were using Visual Visitor for quite a while when we first started getting going. But this is, nice stuff, Tyler. Basically, if you want to know, it de-anonymizes the traffic coming into your website. Sales IQ does this. It basically, Sales IQ tells you the IP address, but it doesn't kind of do that reverse DNS lookup to tell you, oh, it's this company that's on your website right now. It also sometimes gives you a list of the key employees there, their name, their emails, their phone numbers. So kind of allows you to reach out if you see someone's coming to your site a lot.
Yeah, I think tools like this are great for people who follow more of like an account-based prospecting model, because most of the time you're not going to know who at the company is on the site. Sometimes, like you're saying, Brett, it's going to give you a list, but really, like, I guess in the world of remote work, you might be able to get more specific, but these are kind of built to understand, like, hey, this is someone at the Amazon office at this IP address. And so then you could take the tools to go and maybe go on LinkedIn, maybe find some people at Amazon that might have been on your website based on their job title, right? And start doing some prospecting out to them. I do think it's Clearbit that has an integration with Sales IQ. So if you want to kind of build it in that way, but I think it's more expensive than Leadfeeder. I think Clearbit runs you for a couple $100 a month, if I remember correctly.
It does. It does. And that's a very good one as well. Visual Visitor, which I haven't looked at in a while, has a backend Zoho integration. So that was
Yeah,
kind of cool. I'm not sure let's see what kind of integrations we have here on Leadfeeder. Not sure. I don't see Zoho. Oh, look at that.
there we go. Yep.
You got a nice Zoho integration. So very, very cool. Very cool. So check Leadfeeder out. Those are if you're doing kind of, you want to know who's on your website, you're actively prospecting for new clients, these kind of apps are invaluable. And with that, Tyler, let's get to our tip of the week. And this one comes from Wayne. It's using dynamic fields inside of Zoho campaigns for custom user signatures. So, cool tip. I think this thing was up for about 3 minutes, and someone said, "We're doing this right now. It's timely. It's perfect. Thank you so much." So, quick little 6 minute
Yeah,
and 50-second
this
tip
is
on how
a
to.
this is a great idea for a video. I didn't know we were doing this one, so shout out to Wayne. Good call. This is a common thing. It's essentially like when you're in CRM and you set up an email template, you can just grab their signature, right? Of deal owner, and now it'll send using theirs. But campaigns does not pull that over. So this is essentially a guide on how you would go about just setting up that same type of functionality where you can email from the lead owner, the contact owner, whatever, and pull in the properly formatted signature using some of the merge tags. So yeah, shout out to Wayne. Great idea for a video, and probably one that will save some people some headaches when they go and Google search this and this video comes up.
It's so nice that you and I don't have to do all the tips every week, Tyler, and got all these
Yeah,
other
just a
people
general
doing
shout out to our team. I had to
to
do
our
it a
whole
couple
team.
weeks ago, and it was the first in a while. Yeah, it was very, very nice.
Yeah, it's great. And if you don't know, head over to youtube.com/Zenatta. That's where we post all of our content, all about Zoho, 100%. And most likely now, after 2.5 years of building this content library, it's there's still a lot of things we can put on here, but most, I think, of the common questions that people have, the common needs they have, to get started with applications or even go a little deeper, they're over here on our YouTube channel. So head over there, do a quick search for them, and you will find what you need. All right, Tyler, let's wrap this up and get to some Q&A. All right. Isa over on YouTube, he asked, "Hello, is there a tutorial specifically for not-for-profit accounting? Thank you." No, Isa, there isn't. It's funny, we're watching the Zoho Mail full product tutorial and ask this question, but we can talk to John, heads up our finance department, and maybe put together a quick tutorial on not-for-profit, as it is different from for-profit, and get that out there for you. All right, and then I have no idea. How do we get data from Postman? And can you do a tutorial to fetch into Postman?
So, I mean, Postman's really a tool that you use for testing. So, like in this video, when we're talking about creating a webhook for Zoho Flow, like we're just manually entering a payload into Postman that is going to match like whatever the posts that we're going to expect in the future for that integration would look like. So we wouldn't really get data from Postman. Essentially, like when you are setting up your webhook in Zoho Flow, you'll just grab that webhook endpoint that it'll provide. You'll put that in as like I think they call it the destination in Postman. You'll set the option to post, and then you'll need to go in and just add any data that you want to send there to the body section of Postman. Essentially, what you do is you go to body, you enter it as raw data, and then you select JSON, and then you would just manually type in the format that you're going to expect, and then go from there. But yes, we don't. Postman really is just like a useful tool for testing these things, where you're just going to copy paste or manually type in data and just ping it to an endpoint to make sure it does what you expect.
All right. And then Aster is asking, after watching the Zoho Social Full Product Tutorial 2020, time for us to update that tutorial, Tyler. I wonder if it's possible to automatically create a new lead in Zoho CRM when someone sends me a direct message on Instagram. I assume Zoho CRM and Zoho Social are integrated. Yes, they are integrated. I'm not particularly sure about Instagram. I haven't played with this. You can do it with Facebook, and you can do it with Twitter, and you can have those leads all flow
Mhm.
directly in. So my guess is you can do it with Instagram as
I
well,
think you
since it's,
can. I
yeah.
think you can, but maybe we could ask Wayne and leave a comment or comment response for you, Aster, just to make sure. But I think it should create them. It might create them under the lead source of Facebook. I think it kind of lumps in Instagram and Facebook data when it writes it to Zoho or writes it to the CRM. But I think it should do it because now you have a connection with them and it should be able to sync them.
Yeah. All righty. And Dustin, after watching the Z Portals 2022, tutorial. That was with myself and John Mark. Asked, he's curious about the projects portal. As we were about to start configuring portals in our projects app, but came across this and wanted to check here first. Are there any use cases that show the projects integration? If you're, I don't know, Tyler, in my opinion, if you're just going to be using projects and you just need a portal for projects, you're just fine using the projects portal. Z portals will take that kind of to a whole new level, from
well, currently though,
customization.
it doesn't tie to projects.
It
Z
doesn't.
portals used to tie to projects, but they disabled it, and then they're going to roll it back out. So currently, Dustin, it doesn't tie to Zoho projects. Back when it did, I would recommend using it over the client portal and projects, just because, and it depends if you have other Zoho apps that you might want to link into your portal. But yeah, currently, at least, it's not supported in Z portals, but I know they're going to be rolling that back out. So you could look at starting with your current portal just via Zoho projects. And then if you feel you outgrow that later, check back in on Z portals and see if they've updated their feature set.
All righty. And then Momvis, after watching the Zoho Mail full product tutorial 2021, hey guys, thanks for this. Right now, I can send emails from my Zoho Mail app, so I suppose I'm using the IMAP correctly, right? I have a webmail domain, which is not from Zoho. Issue is that I can't see and receive emails in Zoho Mail. For example, I send an email from my personal Gmail, it works fine, but if I go to reply to it, the reply won't land in Zoho Mail app. Gosh, Tyler, I gotta figure this is just an IMAP issue. I'll tell you, I see this
the
all.
IMAP issue is buggy in general. Like it may be a configuration issue about your like inbound and outbound ports. If it was explicitly wrong, it would have errored out on you. So it must just be some type of configuration issue. But I know, Brett, you always have the IMAP installed, and you see all types of weirdness going on.
Yes. Yeah. It's just buggy. I mean, they're not the real time. And the thing about IMAP is it's real time. And, sometimes when you're doing a Zoho Mail IMAP connection, it doesn't work in real time. It's just, especially with Gmail, which is what you're using, I believe here. Yeah. And, I see that with Gmail all the time. All right. Next question. Anand, after watching how to set up new Zoho campaign sync, how do you send out an email with first name in the subject, but if there is not one, like, for example, it ignores it and doesn't add an extra space? I don't think there is any conditional formatting on that, is there? No.
I don't think you can, no.
Yeah. I guess you put in here, you can't replace it with customer, but you could go into your CRM and you could do a search for everybody who doesn't have a first name, and you could replace that first name with customer. And then you would be good to go, I guess. Then when you did this, that's what it would pull in, right? Or you could replace it with hello, and then it would do it that way. But there is no conditional formatting where it can say, hey, if this is blank, then skip. And it looks like that is it, Tyler. So with that, I guess we'll wrap up another show. Freddie, you have got some crazy editing to do on this one.
Definitely.
Anyway, as always, if you want to get a question answered by Tyler and I, head over to club.zenatta.com and put it in the questions for us in the CRM Zen Show, and we will get to it every Friday morning. And if you want to talk to somebody over here at Zenatta, then go to zenatta.com and drop us a line.
On the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Smooth jazz.
He's grooving us out. Good job, Freddie. Can never plan for these internet outages.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
Take care, guys.
Take care, y'all.